What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Healing in Hindsight, your no BS source for thriving with diabetes. I'm your host, Taylor Danielle, and welcome if you're new, and welcome back if you're coming back. I am really excited about this guest. So, you guys already know I'm really huge on awareness, I'm really huge on mental health and spiritual health, and I'm really huge on, removing the boundaries between different types of diabetics, between non-diabetics and diabetics alike. Because at the end of the day, diabetes has something that can teach everybody, I feel. And last season, I did an episode that talked about blood sugar management for everybody because, fun fact, just because you're not a diabetic does not mean that blood sugar is not something that you shouldn't pay attention to. In fact, I would encourage everybody to pay attention to your blood sugar. Now, do you need to go get a CGM? No. But there are ways that you can keep track and keep yourself stabilized so that way you can keep being healthy, right? And hopefully not end up in a potential situation where you might end up with diabetes yourself. So this particular guest is such a breath of fresh air because it gives non-diabetics and diabetics alike the opportunity to manage their blood sugar and still enjoy things that they want to have. And Sugar Break is a supplement brand that is providing products that help with managing your blood sugar. They help with curbing sweet cravings. They help with allowing your body to dispel excess sugar and carbs by blocking off how much you absorb, basically, and even a product to help reduce, the amount of carbs and sugar that is flowing through you to keep that blood sugar levels stable. So I am sitting down today with Scarlett, who is a co-founder and the CEO of Sugar Break. And I really appreciated this conversation because what they are doing over there at Sugar Break and the entire team is providing opportunity for a lot of people to get ahead. And not just adults, but for kids too. That's right. They even have products just for kids. And they're gummies. Jealous just a little bit. But I think this was just a great conversation to see how there are so many people who are not diabetic, but who really care about the collective effort of people being able to take care of themselves and have healthy blood sugar levels and have a healthy, thriving life. And what stood out the most to me about this company is not only was the CEO inspired by a friend who was diagnosed with type 1, but they did studies directly with type 1 and type 2s to see how the effects of the supplement would affect us. And that speaks volumes to me because I've seen other blood sugar management products, don't get me wrong. But to know that they have direct information and data right at smack on their website, be sure to check the show notes for the link, to me says a big, we want to help. And we want to help change the narrative around diabetes stigma. And so we get into it in the episode. She's such a great wealth of information, and I'm really appreciative of her time and energy. So Scarlett, as you're listening back to this, please know how grateful I am to you and the team for everything that you're doing. But without further ado, here's my conversation with Sugar Break. Let's do it. Perfect. You're listening to Healing in Hindsight, your no BS source for thriving with diabetes. What's up, guys? I'm Taylor Danielle, and it's my goal to help millennial diabetics like myself live an amazing life without your diagnosis getting in the way. I get it. I was diagnosed back in 2015 with type 2 diabetes, and it was really hard to find people around my age to understand how to travel, socialize, or even have meaningful relationships. But I feel like with a focus on mindset, perspective, and nutrition, together we can take back our health and our lives. Consider this the red table talk, but for diabetics. Minus the entanglements, though. So let's do it. Hi, Scarlett. How are you?
Hi, I'm well. Thank you for having me here.
I'm really excited to have you as well. I cannot believe I didn't know about you guys. I know you're fairly new, but I'm really stoked to find out more. And I've got your products literally in a cart so I can go pick them up this weekend because you guys are set up in one of my favorite stores that I always spend too much money in, and I'm okay with that. So I'm really excited to chat about what you've created here.
Everyone loves Target, so I don't blame you. And that's part of why we want to be there, because we want our products to be accessible to as many people as possible.
Yeah. It's a magical place, in my opinion.
I agree.
You can pretty much find anything. And there's a Target here in Austin, northern Austin. Whoever designed the store layout knew what they were doing. because you walk in on one side and you've got the makeup stuff and skincare stuff, and it's laid out like a Sephora. And I'm just like, okay, so now we're getting fancy and this appeals to me. So now I'm going to spend an hour just in this one section and then branch off to everything else. So I love it. Before we dive into the products, I'd love for everybody to get to know you a little bit, because I know I've just met you. So I'm sure there are a lot of people who would love to know who you are. So if you can just let us know where you're from and what's your association with wanting to create this type of product.
Yeah, so I'm Scarlett. I'm co-founder and CEO of Sugar Break. Sugar Break is a support system of products using all natural ingredients that are clinically tested to be effective in helping you manage your blood sugar, both intake and that in your blood. And the idea behind it is to make blood sugar management much easier and allow people to take back control of their relationship with sugar. I'm originally from Toronto. I also, part of my childhood, grew up in Hong Kong. My relationship with type 1 diabetes and diabetes in general is through a good friend of mine who got diagnosed a few years ago. No sort of family history, came out of the blue. And I watched him struggle with small decisions every day, like having a piece of pastry required days in advance of planning so he could work out enough so that he would have enough insulin. And seeing him having to, plan his life over something so small that I put no thought into was really heartbreaking, and how that, sort of cascaded into types of jobs he could take, or just planning for his wedding and all of those things. I thought that there must be an easier way to do this. And by the way, diabetes impacts 1 in 3 Americans. And so it impacts a lot of people. And I really wanted to create something that could make people like him, their lives a little easier. And I mentioned I grew up partially in Hong Kong. So I've always grown up with both Eastern and Western medicine. It's had a very synergistic relationship in my life. Western medicine is great for symptoms, but Eastern medicine takes a very proactive, optimizing health approach. And I think both should be incorporated in someone's health and wellness. But unfortunately, no one has really quite cracked the code of how do you translate Eastern medicine into a Western world. So we took that sort of hurdles there and put that into our products. Like, we're easy to use. We're in either a strip form or a capsule, and all of the ingredients are very clear what they are. And we post all of our clinical studies online so people understand it. So the reasons why people don't understand or don't trust Eastern medicine is sort of addressed through the way we think about our products, and even the way we name it: resist, stabilize, reduce. It's by the benefit and sort of function.
Yeah, and I have to say, I just fell into the website, even just trying to prepare for today. I really appreciated the entire science page of just explaining each ingredient and how they work together and how they function in the body. And I really appreciated seeing the studies that were done with type 1s and type 2s as well, because I've seen products that talk about blood sugar management, but not to this depth. And to spotlight the people that it affects the most made me feel comfortable, because I'm like, okay, you didn't just create this and create it for the non-diabetic consumer only. Like, you wanted to ensure that those who are really impacted by this can also benefit on top of their treatment plan with their medical team. So to see the data on how someone like myself as a type 2 or a friend of mine who's type 1 could also use this, it felt special. It was like, okay, you truly care that this works for me, and not making products just to tackle it. Because I'm seeing blood sugar management become a bit more mainstream, which I appreciate. I think when people understand that blood sugar management is for everybody and not just once you have the disease, it improves a lot. We joke about hangry all the time. I'm like, that's just you going low. It's literally it, So
people don't realize it, right? We've sort of
Yeah.
accepted being hangry. We've accepted a carb coma after a meal and not really understood why we feel that way.
Exactly. So that page, and I'll be happy to link it in the show notes, was super helpful and insightful to see how, it could affect someone like myself in using it. And yeah, I think it was very clear and upfront. And even when I looked at each individual product and looked at we're trained to read labels. So it's literally exactly what it said on all fronts. So it's really great for you guys to be super transparent about that. So I appreciate that. I wanted to know, because you had the idea, but how did you connect with the other founders to decide to put these products out there?
So actually, I have 3 other co-founders. 2 of them were the ones who initially discovered our first product, which is our Resist Strip. That's a minty breath strip with the added benefit of blocking the taste of sweet. I sort of call it willpower in your pocket whenever you feel that sugar craving coming on, or when you know you want something sweet. Dinner before the dessert menu comes, just pop it in your mouth and you won't want it anymore. And I was introduced to them through friends. And the first time I tried it, put it on my tongue, put a pack of white sugar, it immediately felt like sand in my mouth. And I was so shocked. And I was like, this is an amazing product. Like, the world needs to know this. So I started helping them for fun. I'm like, how do we bring this product to market? And then upon doing more research, so the main herb in there is called Genema sylvestri, which is an Ayurvedic herb. In Hindi, it's called sugar destroyer. It's been around for thousands of years.
I love it.
And reading the studies behind it, when you actually ingest it, it does that same sort of sugar blocking within your intestine. And it is also believed to help regenerate your cells, beta cells in your pancreas. Thinking about all the pain points through my friend, I'm like, what if we could create more products that address all the different hurdles that people were experiencing every day in managing their blood sugar, and create a whole suite of products around that? And that's what got me really excited about getting involved. And we also, through my 2 other co-founders, introduced me to our 4th co-founder, Adam Lowry, who is an entrepreneur I've admired for a long time. He, created method cleaning products, which was trying to address toxic home cleaning. Then he created Ripple Foods, which is one of the largest non-dairy brands now, to also because of the sustainability aspect. So having someone who is very experienced in creating mission-based companies and part of the whole B Corp movement was really exciting. So that's how we all came together.
That's awesome. I love how it's just and I'm finding this now, even when I started the podcast, that like a genuine passion for, I want this to be a thing, I want people to be aware, turns into a job and a career that can still help others and give back. Just to say, hey, I just want to help you for fun. Like, I just want to ensure that you have help. And then it's okay, we're making this a real thing. And then to meet really cool people who've done it in the space before, to bounce ideas off of and be able to give you insight, is really amazing. So that's cool to know that the team of founders that you have are such driven people who really care about giving back. And I've definitely seen ripple across the place. And I'm like, oh, that's cool to know. It feels even better. Like, the more that I learn, the more I'm like, this feels really good to know that this is out there, because the diabetic community feels stressed out sometimes with products of, what can I trust? What can I not trust?
Absolutely. Which you should, right? You should be scrutinizing everything that's out there. It is your health. And that's why we want to be transparent, because we're going to let you do the research, make your own decision, take it to your doctor, and feel completely empowered in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I love it. So you said that some of them already had some of the information on some of the ingredients, but you have a couple of different ingredients that I've never heard of. So how did you discover them? And even from Ayurveda is such a deep and interesting thing. I love that whole subject. So to know that Sugar Destroyer, I love that name, it's an Ayurvedic thing, already feels really cool. But how did the other products come into place to create, stabilize, and reduce and everything?
So I think we started off with really the pain points, right? Like, Resist was to address those sugar cravings and trying to not eat sugar. Stabilize was really inspired by my friend and his inability to have just pastry without the stress and worry of what he was doing to his body. And so Stabilize is a natural carb and sugar blocker. It blocks up to 42% of your blood sugar spike, so you don't get the same crash. 40% of the carbs being absorbed and turns that into fiber. So you stay fuller longer, but you can still enjoy the foods that you love. I think that speaking to diabetics and knowing one personally, that eating is one of the most stressful times. Our social lives absolutely revolve around it, but that's the time when the odd person out, you have to be really diligent. And I imagine being at Thanksgiving or holidays and you just want to participate. You don't want to get passed over, and you want to focus on the people you love and not about what you eat. So that was the concept of what we wanted to create. And Reduce was a natural alternative to helping you manage your blood sugar. We talked a little bit about pharmaceuticals and that it doesn't stop the progression. You only take more. And it's only if you're quite severe that you can get on pharmaceutical medication through your doctor. So we wanted to create something that could help you maintain that healthy blood sugar before that even happens. So with those sort of concepts, we started doing a ton of research. Like, I love Chinese medicine. I've taken courses in it. And we also have great advisors on our advisory board and scientists. And we looked at every single herb out there that could help you manage your blood sugar, from absorption to processing into your cells to digestion, and looked at all the studies and looked at which ones were the most studied and the best. And the sort of thesis that I also had was that I wanted it to be the minimum number of ingredients, but the most powerful, because no one wants to take 12 capsules of something, right? Like, the minimum number of capsules and ingredients that pull their weight. And that's how we came up with the formulations.
That's awesome. How long was like the testing and research? And did you go through like different iterations of each product, or was like try a formulation, test it, and then, okay, revamp the formulation? Like, how long was this process? Because I'm always fascinated when people create consumables of any sort, and especially something that's ingested and you have to see how the body reacts. Like, I'm just like, how long did you have to perfect this?
So the good thing is all of our products all the ingredients have been studied for a very long time, and there've been a lot of studies on it, on what is safe. They're all GRAS certified, so they're generally regarded as safe. We know what the upper echelons are in terms of taking it, and we know that none of them react with each other. So what's exciting to see is a combination, how much better they are together than they are alone. So it went from 1 to 2, 3 years in terms of development across our whole suite of products. And of course, family and friends are always the best people to test on at the very beginning, and getting their vote of confidence and seeing the impact it had on their blood sugar. One of our first sort of family friend testers, she was a physician herself, and she had an 8.1 A1C, and she had to double her metformin because it wasn't getting any better. And she was like, give this to me, I need to test this. And then took it for 8 weeks and got back down to 5.9.
Wow.
And so we felt really confident that this works. And then with the kids line, it was a lot. We knew what ingredients we wanted to use already, but it was, and what the amounts are for children, but it was the taste that took a very long time to master, because you have to cover up these bitter, very bitter, potent herbs and put it in a delicious gummy. We're not trying to make, parents' lives harder. We're trying to make it easier so that their children will actually ask to have it.
Yeah. Is the difference between the adult capsules and the gummies just aside from like the taste, but like the amounts that are in them?
The amounts are different. They're slightly modified. So with the kids, the statistics are 1 in 5 children in the US are obese, and 1 in 4 adolescents are pre-diabetic. We talked about being a B Corp. We're measured by the amount of sugar we can cut down from people consuming, and also the amount of people we could get into a healthy blood sugar level. So we knew that we couldn't do that without addressing early on when a lot of these problems start. And so we took a more sort of proactive approach when we created our kids products. So Stabilize, the ingredient purely just blocks excess carbs and sugars. And so it doesn't have that sort of hypoglycemic property that the other ingredients that adults have. And then for the daily reduced version, we added in immunity vitamins because we know the impact that sugar has on your child's immunity. So we also added that in because we thought it was really important to include that as well.
Okay, that's really cool. Is there gonna be a gummy version for adults? Because I was actually like, I wonder if I could take the kid one because I definitely prefer a gummy over another capsule to take.
You can definitely take the kids one. Know that the amount of greens is slightly less, so you can definitely take it. My team loves gummies, so everyone, they're like, are we going out with something with carbs? Can we please have a stabilized gummy right now? But yeah, you're not the first to ask, and it's just really being able to have that level of efficacy of ingredients, but enough for an adult. And that's the hardest part in formulating.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm curious to know, because I saw that you guys also have a pretty almost cult-like community so far, and you guys have only been operating for almost a year, which is great. And I think, again, it's a movement that's needed for a long time. And although there's a lot of other blood sugar management products, to really focus and really make it a primary thing is great. So I'm curious as to what the response has been in the community. I know you guys have a Facebook group. I haven't crept in yet, but I know that you have one. And I'm curious to see what the response has been from other diabetics and from non-diabetics and even parents or caretakers, because I imagine coming across you guys, just like myself, oh my God, this is amazing. And so I'm just curious to see what some of the responses have been.
We've had an amazing, response from the community across the spectrum, from parents to people trying to eat less sugar to full-blown diabetics. And it's really so rewarding for myself and the team to be able to see those comments and how we've been able to change people's lives, because just the ability to not stress out about your blood sugar, to eat something that you love and take the focus off all those little micro decisions you need to do the best that you need to do for your health has just been quite a relief for a lot of people. And you can see from our packaging, it's really colorful because I didn't want it to look like a drug. I didn't want it to look like a natural sort of homeopathic supplement. And I wanted it to be really empowering because there's a lot of stigma around diabetes. There's a lot of shame around it. There's a incorrect stereotype of it being like a fat disease. And it's one of those weird diseases where people just assume that you brought it onto yourself. And that is so frustrating for me to see in Creating Sugar Break, but the way that we talk about it, and I say empowering because we want to change that. We want people to learn more about it. We want everyone to be aware of their blood sugar, and I want people to feel confident that they can do this. We talked about the average age of being diagnosed, and you were much younger, is late 30s in the US. And thinking of having to manage your blood sugar for that many years is quite scary. And we wanted people to not feel that way, that they got this. It's just like any other thing and having a healthy lifestyle. It's choice, you can do it, and you're going to be fine.
Yeah, and I think it's really great that you created a community that can blend so many different backgrounds, because that's one thing that the diabetic community is trying to navigate through, is blurring the lines between types, even because there is so much stigma. There could be a stigma of like, okay, I just say I'm a diabetic. And you get more empathy because you're insulin dependent. Or if they think that you're insulin dependent, oh, nothing you can do about that. It just happens. And then let them know, actually, I'm medication based. And so then why aren't you doing the healthy things? And it's just, have you known what I've done in the past to get to this point? So to create a product that can bring all of those perspectives together, that can benefit literally anybody who takes it, it almost creates, in my opinion, this walk in your shoes kind of feeling of, okay, if you're non-diabetic, but you do want to be mindful of your blood sugar management, by taking these products, you're getting a taste of what actual diabetics go through, of like, I have to take my medication, or I have to take my insulin. This is more optional for you, but this is important for me to keep the same level. And now you get an insight of using these products to do the same for yourself, because it does provide so many, good properties for your body. It creates less stress on your body if you're levels are in range and not spiking up and down all over the place and things like that. So I think it creates a valuable conversation to have everybody talk about how it happens and we have to live day to day with what our bodies are doing. But to be able to know that someone could possibly be using these products and be like, oh man, you know what? I don't fully understand, but I can empathize with that because I too am trying to get my blood sugar level stable to, be able to just navigate life and to want to enjoy it. I think that's great that you guys have created a space to have those type of discussions.
And what you touched on, I was going to say, there is that shame. And I'm sure people who are afraid to even share with their closest family and friends that they're diabetic. And that's something you should be able to share with people close to you because they care and they want to take care of you. And I think what's great about our Facebook group and our community is that regardless, people are sharing their experiences and everyone's celebrating what their results or steps they've taken. And that sort of makes it a lot easier to start talking about whatever your sort of health goals are regardless, and not as much of a sort of stigma around it.
Yeah. And I think that's the part that makes it special. Is the crazy thing about diabetes is it's silent. You don't know it until it's already happening to you. And so to be able to indirectly create conversation, I think is important because now, like, there was a lot that I didn't know that my diabetes did for me as a disability. I didn't know that I could bring snacks into the movies because I thought I needed to follow the rules of buy stuff, but if it's vital to my health, but I don't want to disrespect the business or boarding a flight early or things like that, because how do you prove, especially since I'm not insulin dependent, do I need to bust out my entire pharmacy in my house? What is it that I have to do to prove? And that's the part that's always so interesting is even when I was managing a team back at my old job, they were like, oh, I didn't know you were diabetic. What does that look like? It doesn't have a look. It doesn't have a particular type. It just is. And so this kind of closes the gap on that. And I definitely appreciate that. So what are some ways that, because this is providing a middle ground for a lot of people who are struggling even to just have affordable health care. There's a huge wave, I know, in the diabetic community for the Insulin for All movement, and even for those who are medication-based like myself. If you don't have the right insurance, one of my medications, it's like $600 without insurance. And how do you feel about this kind of being a midway to try to support those who might be in lower income families or marginalized communities where they don't have access to quality health care?
So this has been one of the sort of key missions of Sugar Break from the very beginning. So I'm glad you brought this up because this is something very near and dear to my heart, especially as a person of color as well. And going into Target was so important to us because I wanted to create access. It's one thing being a D2C brand. It actually doesn't make it as accessible as going into sort of brick and mortar stores that are around the nation and raising awareness and having people who are shopping there being able to get to it. And also we're working with our retailers actively on how we can better support BIPOC and marginalized communities in different initiatives so that we can improve education, improve health outcomes, and also provide our products as part of the support system. I have amazing advisors on my advisory board who are specializing in this. Dr. Pimu is one of them. Her expertise is managing chronic diseases in marginalized communities and communities of color. So she's been a really great mentor. And when I think through products and think through sort of other programs that we can launch that are in the works right now to sort of address these communities. And even from our investor standpoint, one of our investors, he's an amazing gentleman called Stephen DeBerry, and his whole investment thesis is about investing in companies like Sugar Break that will lift East Side communities. So it's ingrained in the core, and even our internship program, we work with Health Career Connect, which helps students in studying public health who are of color from marginalized communities get their first healthcare job. So just this past summer, we hosted 11 of them.
Wow.
Which is pretty much doubling the size of the team, but it was just so important to us that we had these voices and were able, even as a startup, to give opportunities to these young promising people and help them, get their start so that more companies can consider these communities.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially from the healthcare side of trying to get more minorities involved in those different movements and appealing in a way. Because a lot of people that I've met who are in healthcare, it's because of family that was already in it or some kind of personal connection to it. But to make it an appeal career is important. And I know for myself, having both Black and Asian influences, I don't know what it is about our older generation, but they're just so hard headed. They don't want to go to the doctor. They don't want to do anything. And so to have representation of, hey, I'm here. I'm not going to set you up for anything that's going to be bad for you. Let me advocate for you. Let me communicate for you on your behalf. Let me do these things to ensure that as we are, continuing to evolve as a society, we can make sure everybody's taken care of, right? Because stats wise, it's the Black and Hispanic community, and even Native American community that is just constantly on the higher side of being more susceptible to diabetes. And so I think that's great that you guys are bringing in youth to get them started early of, hey, this is a lucrative career opportunity, and here's a way that you can learn about why this is important. And then you can take that back and be able to spread that and be able to get not only older generation to trust it, but also securing that the future generation will want to take this initiative and keep it going. And so I think that's awesome. Exciting.
But we can't really blame them if it's
not at all
the trust factor, the sort of propensity to, say, for diabetes, to have complications, to all of the most severe sort of treatments are more likely to be given to someone of color versus someone who is not, right? So with that lack of trust, it's really tough. And that's why a big thing that I'm with Sugar Break is trying to push for is educating and bringing the knowledge to communities themselves so they can be self-sufficient and take care of their own. Because I think that is the best way to sort of democratize healthcare and diffuse, providing of healthcare.
Yeah. And I only, of course, read about it because you can't go back in time. But I love historical novels and things like that because you always hear an aspect of the village aspect of taking care of each other. And my mom, when she went back to Thailand some years ago, her village was still there. And a lot of people that were around when she was younger were still there and they were still, chugging along. And it's just inspiring that extended family-like feeling. And it's shifted as we've, evolved as a society. It's more of an online connection than it is a physical connection. But even still to, like you said, provide that and take that back so they can teach their own. It brings back that old time tradition of the village taking care of each other and being there for each other. And that needs to stay for sure. So I want to ask, I guess, a fun question, if you will. So if I'm buying all of them. So just pretend like I'm not doing that. But if I wanted to purchase one of the products and I could only get one, what would be the product that you would recommend to start with?
Making me choose my favorite amongst my children. Stabilize is my favorite.
Yeah.
And Stabilize is my favorite because I think you don't need to really change your behavior a lot. You just need to take it 10 minutes before a meal and it makes you, no matter who you are, it makes you feel better because it blocks those carbs and sugars so that you don't have that crash afterwards. So you have that post-lunch sort of coma or become hangrier after. And for a diabetic, that is a huge difference, being able to maintain your blood sugar at a certain level. So this is definitely my favorite one because I think of all the people who would normally not be able to enjoy what we call a regular meal and have to focus on what they're eating can now take that focus to the company that they have and really enjoy the meal more.
Yeah. So Stabilize. Okay, that makes sense. And I think that's a really cool thing that, like, granted, we, at least for a lot of us, we understand that behaviors change over time to ensure that we can have more longevity in our blood sugar management. But we all have cheat meals. We all have days where we just want to sit on Netflix and binge and have some ice cream or something like that. And there have definitely been nights where I'm like, crap. Now my CGM is going off. Crap. Now I got to guzzle a gallon of water before I go to bed. All these things. But to know that I could take something to help reduce that is exciting. I'm curious to know, like, how do those who are insulin dependent balance adjusting their levels with using these products? Is it something that they should just take with them to their doctors to help them figure that out? Because I know, and God bless insulin dependent folks, because I already hate math.
Yeah.
So the fact that I have to calculate carbs and then how much insulin, like, yo, yeah, how does that work?
First of all, you should always take it to your doctor if you're already on medication. But the good thing about insulin dependent folks are that they measure their blood sugar all the time and they know exactly how their body reacts to it. So they're very good at adjusting their insulin based on what their blood sugar measurements are after a meal. And from customers who've written in, they've just been able to, adjust it accordingly, but take it to your doctor and have a test.
Sounds good to me, because I'm not a doctor. I will Google it before I ever actually know the answer. That's awesome. And it's great to know that other type 1s have shared their experience in that, because I know that's an extra layer to think about, is how many carbs am I consuming when they have to do the pre-bolus and then the correction, things like that. So that's cool that you can do your normal thing, take it and adjust, and then go to your medical team and say, hey, this has been helping a lot. How can I adjust my insulin intake even further? So speaking of future things, I know you hinted at something earlier. Are you allowed to share? Are there any new products coming? Any exciting things we can know about with Sugar Break?
We will have new products dropping soon. I cannot share them, what they are, but I will say that the 3 sort of core pillars to Sugar Break is that it's natural. We use clinically tested ingredients, and the 3rd pillar is measurable. So whatever we do, we want you to be able to measure the efficacy, because that's the only way to know that it actually works. And every product we've created is based on knowing our community and getting feedback from them on what's been really challenging for them. So even with the upcoming products, it's a lot of community feedback on what makes it really hard for them to manage their blood sugar. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Don't worry.
When they come out, I will send you some. I'll send you a preview.
I would love that. I'd be happy to be a guinea pig anytime. So what does Sugar Break look like in a couple of years? You guys are coming up on 1 year. Congrats, by the way. Where do you want to see this go? How do you want to see it expand?
I think it's just continuing to listen to our community and creating products that will make their lives easier, going beyond the diabetic community and really helping everyone with their relationship with sugar. 90% of Americans are trying to eat less sugar. 80% of the people who are pre-diabetic don't even know. So there's a big part of raising awareness and getting people to measure and manage early on. And the hope is that when people become more aware and more proactive with managing their blood sugar, we're not going to see the same level of diabetes in this country.
That's awesome. Now, remind me, do you guys ship U.S. and Canada? Are you international too?
Just U.S. for now.
Okay. So coming soon, because I could see this being something that changes the world. I know that there are other countries who are, facing similar things and would appreciate, honestly, the Eastern medicine nostalgia, if you will.
We get messages all the time. They're like, are you working on sending it to my country yet? And they will be like, is there a status update?
That is awesome. I love that. That means you're doing something great, because you have other countries that are like, hurry up, figure it out. And I know there's a whole bunch of legal stuff and operations and all that
They're
stuff.
like, you said you were working on it. Why aren't you doing it?
I have to say, I appreciate, and that's why I loved working for startups, because you get such a deep insight as to how this works. And my last company, they were expanding across the US, and now they're going international, which is so exciting. It was so hard when people were like, okay, but you coming in? It ain't us. We promise. We want to be there. It's all the legal stuff that we got to do to get there.
Legal stuff, exactly.
And them lawyers ain't cheap. You know what I'm saying? You want me to get it right, or you want me to go to jail? Because
the government's also not very fast.
Yeah, at all. Fast anywhere? Is there any government anywhere that's actually speedy on something? Except for collecting money. I always fast on that. Well, Scarlett, this has been really cool. I wanted to ask a couple, things before I let you get back to changing the world, one stabilized bottle at a time. What's a piece of advice that you would give to non-diabetics about blood sugar management?
get tested. Everyone should know. You should know what your fasting blood sugar is, but really you should know how your body reacts to food afterwards, and sleep and stress. Like, all of these things impact your blood sugar. And we know that sugar is bad for you, but it actually impacts so many different things, like high blood sugar linked to all the other chronic diseases. Sugar also one of the main trigger for aging. Every sort of, if you care about your health, you should know this. And I'm really excited that big tech companies like Samsung and Apple are coming out with blood sugar monitoring in their watches, because that will make a lot more people aware of their blood sugar. I think it's really important. So please get tested. The more information you have in your body, the better.
Absolutely, hands down. I cannot say that enough to people, especially when I've had friends who, hey, this person in my family's been diagnosed. What do I do? And how can they help, and try to share resources? But I'm like, are you getting tested yourself? Oh, no. I'm like, you get a physical once a year. It's nothing to say, hey, can you give me a test for diabetes? Just say that. They know all the panels and stuff, because your doctors are obligated to order those tests for you. And I think another thing that I've been so passionate about is people advocating for themselves, because if I've heard people like, yeah, I'm getting pushback from my doctor that they won't order it. I'm like, that's low key illegal. Like, they have to order it for you. Like, they can't deny you testing if you ask for it. So absolutely, please get tested, even if it's just once a year. The more, the better. I got tested the year before I was diagnosed because I was concerned, and I was clear. And then the next year, I don't know what happened. But even so, it was on my radar. And I think everybody should include that as part of their yearly checkup routine, because like you said, the more, the better. And I, too, am very excited about my Apple and Samsung. Like, I need a new Apple Watch. Like, I still have the first generation Apple Watch. I have worn that thing it doesn't last so great. And I'm like, dang, I can't update it anymore. All the new apps I can't use. I'm ready. I've been holding out on not buying a new one, because I'm like, just a little bit longer. Because if they get this down, I am going to lose my mind. Because just having a CGM already has been so helpful. So helpful. I don't have to because I was having to do the finger test like 5-6 times a day to really understand.
It is not.
It's a mess.
Would not wish it on anyone.
Yeah.
I tried to see how that would feel, and I was doing that, and I was like, I can never get enough blood. This is awful.
Oh yeah, that's fun. And you gotta like a tube of toothpaste.
I'm like, every single finger has been pricked at this point.
Yeah. It was crazy because one time I had to get my fingerprints done for my old company because they were issuing us laptops. And she was having a hard time getting a good read, because when she scanned, you could see all the little calloused holes from me pricking my fingers and to keep switching hands. So yeah, I think it would be, great to, one, compare just wearing my CGM with the watch and seeing how it reads, because I know CGMs do a deeper fluid, and I like Freestyle's example. There's the front of the train, and then there's caboose, and the CGM gets the caboose, and then your regular glucometer for your finger gets the front of the train. So to see where the watch doesn't require you to have it sitting in your skin, basically like a CGM, how that would compare. And yeah, I think it would be, I'm just so glad that they're doing it, because the more, if people could see more of what's going on with your body up and down, then I feel like we're just on a fast track now. People getting ahead of their health, of people doing more preventative care and not feeling like it's a sham, or that like, oh, I'll wait 5 more years. It's fine. Yeah, I was in my mid-20s and that was fun. So to get ahead of it, I think is going to be a game changer and really push the way for more sustainable and eco-friendly living. So
sadly, it's becoming more common. Like, we work very closely. Our main sort of organization we partner with is the Diabetes Research Institute, which I'm sure you're familiar with. And their latest data showed that of people who are hospitalized with COVID, over 14% developed type 1 afterwards.
Yeah.
So now, especially, and the diabetes is the top sort of comorbidity factor for COVID as well. And that's shining a lot of light on diabetes as a disease and how prevalent it's become.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially how it's connected to so many others. I have friends who have PCOS, and I'm like, hey, I hear you, and I'm glad that you're taking it seriously. One of my closest friends, she was on the show a couple seasons ago, and we talked about it. And she was like, "My mom and you both are diabetics, so like when I was diagnosed with PCOS, I knew I had to kick it into high gear. I knew I had to make an effort to change things. But a lot of women don't know that." Either one, whether you have diabetes, I still could be susceptible to PCOS, or if you have PCOS, it fast tracks you to a life with diabetes if you're not taking care of that. But because a lot of people just don't know unless you're showing symptoms, which you don't always, it leads to this crazy lifestyle that we have here.
I feel like you're a mind reader because that's exactly what we're focusing next month on all of our social channels. PCOS.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. And I didn't even know that it was a thing until my friend was diagnosed with it. And then when I started researching, I was like, oh shit, all of this is tied together. So I'm already susceptible if I'm not careful because I'm already fighting insulin resistance with myself and all of these things. And yes, my medication helps because I have heard of metformin being utilized to assist with it, but still it blew my mind. And I'm like, low key, I wish my OBGYN had let me know about this. I've been at this 6 years and not once
super
did
common,
she say.
10% of women.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm so glad that you guys are going to be focusing on that because I think it's huge. And throwing it out there, Diabetes Sisters might be a good organization to partner with because it's a nonprofit solely around women with diabetes. And they talk about all of these things. And when I found them, I was like, oh my God, I thought I was just crazy. I thought I was just going off the deep end early, not realizing that, oh, my blood sugars are crazy during my menstrual cycle because what doesn't set your blood sugar high? And being a female kind of aids that. So they talk about a lot of stuff.
We don't have enough to worry about, right?
Like, we're already Wonder Women. And now we're just extra layers. Life is just, you can take a little bit more. Can you slow down a little bit? Scarlett, this has been so amazing. I cannot wait to get my hands on these products this weekend and to try it. And I will definitely be in touch with you. I when I first got my CGM, I was scanning myself like crazy because I was so excited. And now I'm excited again to see how I react to different foods using the suite of products. I think what you guys are building here is phenomenal. And I can't wait to see it continue to grow and impact the world and start another wave of just preventative care that's highly needed, especially for families, because kids are starting to catch the wave too. And if we can slow that down in any way, I'm all for it. Where can people find Sugar Break? How can they stay in touch with you if they want to support you guys? Where can we find y'all?
Yeah, our website is www.sugarbreak.com. All of our social handles, we're on Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, all the above at Take a Sugar Break. And you can find us on our website, on Amazon, at Target, and at CVS as well.
Not only
and
can
if you love our products, leave a review, join our community, because like we said, it's really important that we support each other and share our stories.
Absolutely. I love that I can run down the street or I could utilize Amazon Prime. I did not know y'all were on Amazon. That's even better. I'm so excited. I'm so excited because I do love having things delivered to my door. It's great.
And Taylor, I have a discount code for your listeners and followers. So
what?
50% off, Taylor 15.
Okay. So I need you to understand how awesome this is because my birthday is January 15th. It's my favorite number. It's my lucky number. Yep. Capricorn. Cancer rising, Virgo moon. That's awesome. You guys, you heard it here first. Taylor 15 to get to try some of these amazing products. I'll be right there with you guys. And of course, catch me here every Tuesday or Thursday with myself and a friend. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
I feel so blessed and so lucky to meet incredible human beings through this show. I have met so many amazing people who I just feel deep connection and partnership with, who care about the community and who really just want to have a positive change on the world. And so Scarlett is definitely one of those human beings who I hope to have a connection with for years to come because she's doing amazing things, her and the rest of the co-founders and the team at Sugar Break. So I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. Don't forget, you get 15% off by using code Taylor15. my lucky number on Sugar Break products. So make sure that you utilize that. Let me know how you like it. I'm really excited for the strips. I think that's going to be a game changer, but trying the whole host of sweets, I promise I will keep you guys informed because I feel like there's going to be nothing but good things to say. So of course, you can always follow Sugar Break at Take a Sugar Break, but make sure that you're also following the show as well. You can listen on all your favorite podcast platforms. So Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Amazon, the deal. I'm everywhere, or at least I try to be. So be sure to share with a friend, family member, and let them know that there's a product out there that can help you manage your blood sugar, diabetic or not. And then, of course, you can also follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, and you can watch it on YouTube. And if you've got time, I would love it if you could leave a review. You can either go to Apple Podcast or podchaser.com. Doesn't require you to have a login on Podchaser because I know some of you don't use Apple Podcasts. That's totally okay. But I wanted you to have a way to be able to leave me valuable feedback on how you're enjoying the show. So leave a rating. Be honest about it. I promise you won't hurt my feelings. And if you do leave a rating, drop your Instagram handle so I can thank you personally. I think that it's important to know that I appreciate each and every one of you who provide a feedback to me on how I can improve, on topics that you want to hear about, on people that you'd love for me to interview. I am open to all walks of life. They don't have to be diabetic as long as it can help the diabetic community. So you can take some time to leave me a review. That help you grow out a lot. I really am excited for the rest of this season. It has just been such a great season so far. I don't know how I'm going to top it for next season, you guys, to be honest. It's just been so great connecting with so many amazing human beings that are creating products like Sugar Break. Yeah, they're only a year old, guys. Can you believe it? So again, be sure to follow on Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok. I think you said all the things. All the links in the show notes as well. So show your support, get you some products. Make sure you use that discount code Taylor15 and let me know what you think. Of course, every Tuesday and Thursday, you know where to find me. Tuesdays are solos. Thursday, it's going to be me and a friend. But that's it for this round. Hit me up on the gram if you need me. I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.